Alrighty, so let's kick it off. So welcome to another Office Hours for Jenkins X. The hot topic is, as always, is Jenkins X3. So everyone's been squirreling away, working hard. It's been pretty awesome last 2 weeks since the last Office Hours. I think there's a general vibe of we're getting closer to a beta, which is really, really exciting. So I think we're going to try and use this time today to try and cover some of the things that we're currently in progress, some of the things we need to do, and we'll be looking at over the next 7 to 10 days-ish, 2 weeks, try and get ready for a beta to be available for people to use. As always, let's try and use if there's any questions as we go along, any feedback, thoughts, please jump out and say. James is going to turn his video off. That's cool. And yeah, okay. James, did you want to kick off? We're talking about some of the multi-architecture stuff that you've been looking at, or anything else?
Yeah, I'll do the multi-architecture stuff. A bunch of folks from Huawei are trying to get ARM images for everything so that we can boot up on an ARM cluster, which turns out to be quite a big change because there's lots of images. We've started to go through the core images and do a multi-architecture build. So we've got, let me find a link actually. I've got a link with the current state. Give me 2 seconds. So we've got the Git operator and here we go. I'll pop it in the chat. We've got multi-architecture now. So every time we do a release of Git operator, the JX CLI preview or promote, we have we create ARM and AMD 64 images for everything, which is cool. The interesting thing is we've got a new image called JX-boot. So we have been using the JX CLI image for quite a while on version 3, which is, fine, it's side. So we've got a kind of a trimmed down image, which we call version 3.x, and it's really just got the JX binary Helm file, kept kubectl, and JX GitOps and JX secret and JX verify. So it's got like a bunch of the plugins, only a few plugins, and the core command line tools. So it's fairly small. I think the whole thing is about 700 meg. It still could be shrunk a bit, but it's reasonable. And the images add one plugin on top of that base image. So they're fairly small as well. So those 3 images together should be pretty small. And once you've downloaded the first one, the other 2 should load pretty quickly. As I speak, I'm running the BDD tests to check or work with these new images. So the core image, the boot and the Git operator has been BDD tests, so those work great. I'm just testing these images in the pipelines so that we get rid of all these big images everywhere and we move to these small images. I'm trying to get rid of all the old builder images as well. There's really no need to use the builder images that we used in V2. So in V2, we had these big builder images that were JX plus kubectl plus Helm plus Maven and Go and Node and stuff. We should be able to use it upstream. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I think we're catching most of it, I think.
Pesky kids, big at home. Yeah. So basically, we've got small images now, and they're shrinking all the time.
Yeah, and I think, and so the motivation around that, because we on the V2 approach we kind of had some legacy support for the way we used to use with Jenkins. So Jenkins used to spin up a single build pod with every CLI, every binary, every tool you can possibly imagine on the internet inside these builder images, so that these pipeline can run these multiple steps. But then the advantage of now going all natively completely onto with Tecton is we can have smaller steps with just the right CLI that's needed to do that job. So rather than downloading these some of them were over 4 gig in size of images, we can actually have smaller, more discrete, and use the official build pods for things like Golang and Maven and Node and various things. Cool. Yeah, they do sign language. Yeah, we can see. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, so that all is part of. So where that leads into is the whole effort we are at the moment, the phase of the Jenkins 3 beta, is a case of just trying to make clean everything up, making sure that when we go to beta, we're not going to be removing anything. This is a good change to be able to have, that people are going to have their good, nice, clean pipelines as well, and using the right images that we expect to go on and continue to support them going forward. There is a project board, which is there or thereabouts. I can share my screen. We've got a number of things. Let me have a little check to, let's go here. Let's see my screen. There we go. Most of the, if they haven't been done, they're now in progress. I think Ankit's just done something on the website as well, so that we can move a task over, which is awesome. But you can see we kind of started to deprecate remove a lot of the things that shouldn't be in there. A lot of BDD testing is going on. AKS is rocking. They and Chris have been doing some great work there. So we've also got some of these other efforts as well. I think this one here has just been one that's been done by Ankit actually. So we can actually move that over to done. Well done, Ankit. But for anybody that's looking at this and wondering where we are, have a little look at the task we've got left, and if there's any help that you want to be involved in, then just shout out on Slack. One of the things I was going to probably talk very briefly about was this bit here. So one of the things with Jenkins X2, at some point we had there was a cloud-based distribution of a Jenkins X2 that was kind of slower cadence. This was useful for folks that kind of wanted to only upgrade a certain number of, at a slower rate, rather than the continuous delivery flow that we have within the Jenkins X core. So one of the things with that is so that people prepare for some of the changes, they get a bit of, see what changes are coming through, and we know that changes are being used out by early adopters for a little bit longer. So we have the thought around creating an LTS version stream. So the idea, and this is where I can nicely transition over to diagram. There's an issue here to look at the details, and already we've had some thoughts on there. But if we go over to this, let me scroll this. I don't know if you can see slightly, but this is kind of, isn't everything, but this is some the repos that we have. All these boxes actually represents a Git repo that is in Jenkins X. We have a number of libraries that we use. These are Go libraries, and these tend to be reused in different plugins that we have. So these are the CLI plugins. And when these get released, we have automation that updates these libraries, and then they get all rolled up into this JX CLI. This is where people then do a JX CLI upgrade, or JX upgrade CLI and JX upgrade plugins. And this is when they can get all these plugins coming in. We also have a number of charts, and this is an exhaustive list. This is just some of these charts that we have. Ultimately, what we have is this quality gate, and this is still work in progress, this diagram. But we have a version stream that everybody is using at the moment who is using Jenkins X3. All the versions that for the libraries and for the plugins that we have, and every Helm chart, anything that we have is Jenkins X is in this quality gate of version stream. Now this version stream is there, and everything gets rolled up, and we run a number of BDD tests across this. We do run unit tests, and in some cases some more extensive integration tests on some of these repos. But you can imagine, even though we want to shift left, it could be quite expensive if we want to run BDD testing across every single change on every single repo that we have within Jenkins X. So what we do is we have this quality gate that we run our real end-to-end BDD testing before we get made available. When the changes gets merged into here, it's available for anybody to pull into their own Git repository, This is their early adopters. This is their own Git repository by using JX GitOps upgrade. And then they'll get their changes and then they upgrade their own cluster. And what we're looking at doing for the beta is creating a new LTS version stream, which is going to be released on a slower cadence. So the initial thoughts is running every month. Anybody that wants to be on the latest and greatest version stream, the same as our own Jenkins X infrastructure, that's totally fine. They'll be able to continue to be able to upgrade using the latest version stream here. But for folks that want that more confidence, let's say, and know that their features are being used by the early adopters a little bit longer, and maybe make sure that their documentation is up to scratch and other things, then they can actually track this LTS version stream. And then when this gets merged in once a month, we'll do a nicer change, higher level change log, and they'll be able to upgrade their own clusters.
So is that a flag
So
that you would
that's the
pass to
theory.
the GitOps upgrade to tell it what stream to use?
Yeah, current thinking, I mean, this is kind of work in progress over the next few days, so welcome for feedback. Because it's all managed by kept, a kept file anyway, which points to the location of the Git repository that you're tracking. So we could have a little CLI command that just swaps out the Git repository between latest and the LTS version stream, or people do it by hand. That's one theory. Or we could do a flag maybe. Yeah. And then because it's all through Git, you would be able to switch back and forth as well. So one of the other really cool advantages of this is if you've got, I mean, me and James were talking the other day that if there is, say, for example, everything is always going to be shippable once or releasable once it's in the latest version stream. So if there is a particular fix that you need, that you want, but you don't want to upgrade everything, you can cherry pick that change. And be able to pull that into your own cluster. So it's a bit better visibility of what's actually going on and what's being changed and what's being fixed. And then you can pull those in, update, and then provide feedback as well if you wish to. I know it's just looking at 3 boxes, long rectangles. It needs a bit of work, this diagram, but does it kind of give a bit of insight about how it kind of how it's planned together, hold together? Cool.
Yeah, how difficult will it be to have a version stream that's once a quarter or twice a year?
You could do your own. We could probably, if there was enough demand, I would say, then we could do it. But to be able to, we're going to have a command that actually updates a pull request on every release into the latest. So one merge into the main line for this latest version stream, a command will automatically update a pull request onto this version stream. So you could take the same command probably and maintain your own one, or if there's enough demand that people want it, they could use, we could have a quarter or half yearly one as well.
Yeah, for an enterprise to
It might be a advance.
maybe a little challenging.
Yeah. I know the Jenkins project does it around, I think that's every month they try to go for. I don't know how that transfers into some products and various things, but from an open source project, I think they try and do it about once a month. And things like Kubernetes as well, and other open source projects, they're doing quite a lot of updates themselves. Tecton has just been upgraded as well, for example. So having that there at the moment on a monthly cadence seems fairly sensible. But yeah, I think we could totally look at, I think James, you just mentioned having a branch maybe, or something that's actually of an even slower one. I think one of the things is, and maybe this is a good argument to have a once a quarter branch, is managing the upgrade path. But what's been quite good is for probably, I don't know, the last 6 to 8 weeks, we've been auto upgrading our own infrastructure. And and a couple of times where we've got other clusters where you can jump, because it's just git commits, you can jump at multiple releases, which is really, really quite nice because it's all in Git. So that's really quite handy as well. So yeah, we could look at to do that. Any other thoughts? Or James, you made a comment. Currently, folks run JX GitOps upgrade whenever. So yeah, you can run that every 6 months. Yeah. So this is going to be worked on at the moment. Hopefully, we're just doing some updates for our own infrastructure for some of the unrelated things around Git at the moment. But that's going through. Once that's there, the intention is that will be the first beta release. To coincide with that, we're also doing a lot of docs changes. If anybody wants to see the latest thing that just was Ankit's just done this really awesome thing of splitting out the docs and the versions on the website. So the V3 docs are going to start evolving quite rapidly over the next until we get to the beta. And then once we get to the beta, we'll be probably updating more of the actual main landing pages, making sure that that's all labeled and people can we'll be doing a bit of a revamp of that entirely as well. Some of the other things I think on there is worth noting, which James mentioned that we're going to remove the old builder images. Once we've removed those, we'll be able to also then remove some of the old JX requirements that aren't needed for JX3. We want to be able to remove those before we get into the beta as well, because they're old V2 things which shouldn't really be there. We don't want to be maintaining them in the beta. So apart from that, that's pretty much the main things that we've got outstanding until we get to V3. A beta. How does that all sound? Good. Alrighty. Is there anything that anybody can think that we've missed? I mean, I know I didn't go through the full list there, but I have a little look. But anything else that are on people's minds? Cara, what's your thoughts?
I don't know if you just said, but and also no promises. But do you have a sense of the timeline for the beta?
Aiming, well, we'd like to get it out and available within the next 10 days, within 7 days to 14 days, I'd say. James, do you want to do any advancements on that?
That sounds about right.
What would be nice is that gets there. So we want to, as we said, we want to be making any bigger changes in the alpha. Once it gets to beta, this is about polishing, documentation, guides, making sure that we're fixing any bugs as a matter of urgency, so that we get a nice stable path through to a GA. It'd be nice. Yeah, I'm sure people are going to play through it through December, but December's a fairly quiet month for a lot of people. So, I know it'd be good to try and aim for a GA start of next year, for example, once things are baked and ironed out any issues. We really want to attract people that have to try the beta that have had issues with JX2. We know we've resolved so many issues, certainly with installation. GitOps improvements that are there now around cluster are big. The images that we've got, the health, the extra health plugins that we've got as well. There's a big long list of improvements, but we want to make sure that people, once we get to a beta, that people can try and kick the tires and give us that feedback, and we can get it over the last mile of GA. How does that sound, Cara?
Sounds great. And in the the project board you showed, for people who would like to become engaged in working on some of the guides, maybe they have a special interest or something they're supporting as well, and are those all listed in that project board then?
There are some, the project board is super high level. What the best thing to do is to raise an issue, and we can track it in one of those epics, let's call them. I can't believe I said the word epic, but I did. But yeah, let's do that. It shouldn't, if anybody wants to be involved at any point, then yeah, either reach out on Slack, reach out on create an issue, we can discuss it there. It's been a lot of awesome people that's been involved with this so far, and it's grown by the day. It's quite amazing to see. But yeah, so if you have any thoughts, guides is going to be probably one of the main focuses, right? Because yeah, there's a lot of experience around AKS, for example, EKS as well. Within the team here, there's probably more experience around GKE. So, but we want to be ensuring that we have parity for those three cloud providers. So having guides, walkthroughs is going to be pretty key, and just sharing experiences, how to add a secret, how to add, how to upgrade. Let's do guides for absolutely everything. The structure, the changes that have been made there as well on the doc site is going to make it super easy to be able to add your own guides, and we can find where it fits in, we can move things around. So. And for the guides as well, if anybody wants to know, if you're not familiar where it is, there's a JX Docs repo. So, but again, reach out to us and we can help guide you there. Hi there, we just had someone else join. Ajat, is it?
Hi.
Hello,
Right.
nice to see you. Nice to see you here. How are you doing?
Very good.
Good, good. Have you been looking at Jenkins X?
Yes, I've been really kind of been following for last few. Sorry, some background noise.
That's okay. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah. So I really appreciate. I think the community and the way you've been mentoring the community on Jenkins X, and I'm kind of I and my team are exploring it for certain work in our organization, and we have been kind of experimenting with it for the past few months. Really appreciate. We've been now trying to see if we can use the version 3, JX3, and really looking forward to kind of using it more extensively in our organization in the coming months.
That's great to hear, and it's great for you to be here as well and sharing that and being involved in it as you go along. We'd love to hear your experiences and feedback as you go along as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. And you said the magic word of JX3 as well, so that was great. All right. I mean, from my point of view, I guess there wasn't anything more, but if anybody has any thoughts or open it up to any discussions people have.
Attempting to compile the JX CLI and following the instructions on Git. It's saying it requires Go 1.11 or 12. Is that out of
Yeah, JX CLI, is that the JX CLI repo or the JX repo?
JX CLI repo?
Okay, yes, that's definitely out of date. Let's get that updated. I think I've got Go 1.15. I don't know, James, what others people? Yeah.
So what repo are you guys using? Is the JX CLI the right repo?
Correct, yeah, for JX3, yeah.
So it's 1.15 is what's required. That's what I got to compile with.
Awesome, yeah. Yeah. Maybe a little PR on the docs or something, wherever you spotted it, maybe we can update that if you fancy it. Awesome.
And then did you have a chance to work on the Kuber Healthy?
There is there is one of the small, I guess the background tasks that are there at the moment. It's not done at the moment yet. We've got also a couple of checks that we want to do a check for the TLS and DNS as well, for Cert Manager, because that's got merged in recently, for at least for GCP, and I think AKS is now there and EKS is coming shortly. But yeah, we can have a look at that. Hopefully, once with the version stream is there, the health checks was one of the next things to have a look at.
And then the other, I didn't bring up last Friday, but the other thing I was thinking about is the JXNS commands. If the namespace is not there, it just sets it to it anyway. So can't we just say, hey, that namespace doesn't exist, do you want to create it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is an issue that you raised that needs fixing. So we need to be able to places which don't exist, because they can go, be deleted at any point in kubectl. You can change to a namespace in kubectl, it doesn't exist. But there is a CLI argument that's meant to check if it doesn't exist, fail it. And I think you raised an issue about that needs fixing. I think it got broken in the migration.
Right.
Yeah, I'll post it in the chat. So we need to fix that one.
People will make mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should maybe make it the default that if a namespace doesn't exist, it fails.
Yeah.
It's probably a good default. And force an extra CLI if you want to override the fact that it doesn't exist. Like if you know it doesn't exist, but you still want to set it to CLI or something. Is the JX namespace might not exist, but you want to set JX as your namespace. It's connected to an empty cluster that Terraform is about to do some stuff in. You might want to set the JX namespace even though it doesn't exist, because you know it will. So you just want to set your namespace and then just wait. But yeah, it needs a bit of polish, that CLI.
Yeah.
Hey, I've noticed an issue with Git activities with the watch flag. Have you guys noticed that it doesn't, you have to kill the terminal to get it to recover?
We were just talking about that today. It's annoying. It's ever since we moved to Go, client Go 1.19, it seems we need to do something to get Control-C back. It's really annoying.
Okay. I was just hoping it wasn't
Control-Z
something specific to my setup or something I did. So that's good to hear that it's not just me.
Yeah, it's
really annoying as well.
I was complaining about it earlier. Yeah. Well, okay. Maybe we can have that might be a background task we can try and have a look at. I don't think we've got an open issue for that actually, but I'll take a look at that. Cool. All right then. So for the next week, I guess there is of the LTS version 2 stuff. There's the smaller images and the removal of requirements, website upgrades. Sorry, website guide updates. And I think high level, that's where we are at the moment. Can you think of anything else?
I think that's about it. Yeah, that's the main task. And just lots of testing.
Lots of testing, bug fixing. Yeah, there's lots of little bugs that are polishing that are going through now. So the more feedback, the more test, more run through people are doing, and the better really. All right. If there's nothing else, should we make this a short one, or is there anything else anybody wanted to bring up?
Well, I don't know. I guess I could think of one thing to talk about.
Sure.
And that's as it relates to certificates for a dev box. So right now I have so I'm encountering issues with the image registry. And so we have self-signed certs there, and it does a check to see if it can get, it does a get call anyway, and it comes back with an X509 unknown host or invalid host or something like that, because we're just using self-signed certs. And I was wondering if there's an easy way to address that.
Is it, what is it that hits it? Is it the Canico? Is it the Canico push?
No, here, let's see. I've got a note. Let me find it. It is, shoot.
And this is an OpenShift registry, was that right?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so it's saying that, here, if I can share my screen, I can show you guys. Sure. I've got a little note here. I don't know if you guys can see this screen here.
Yeah.
Ah, shoot. Okay. So it's this right here. And then unknown authority. This X509 certificate signed by an unknown authority.
I mean, to me that looks, I don't know if that is the right, that's the Canico push, which should support the insecure registry flag, I thought.
But there's an extra flag you need to pass to Canico to enable.
Okay. Well, so yeah. No, I thought I did that. So the Canico insecure registry, let me think, what did I?
Because there's flags on Canico. One's insecure, one's insecure registry.
I put a value shell in the root of my Lighthouse directory that has that Canico. It was in these instructions, maybe right here in this issue that you created, James. Yeah. So I created this file, and I put this in it, and then I'm still getting that.
Damn. Oh, I remember that issue now. I forgot about it. Let me check. It's because there was, I noticed there's two. I thought I'd done
this in the past.
Yeah, two.
There we go. I think there's an insecure skip TLS verify by Carlos.
That's
our friend Carlos.
it. Yeah. That's the one, isn't it? Skip TLS. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
There's loads of different Canico flags, and I think I guessed the wrong one.
So you're saying that should be a different name?
Yeah, maybe the skip TLS verify is the flag I should have said.
And you can put that in your Canico flags equals -- insecure, or just put it in the Canico, the pipeline that runs the Canico build in the step.
Okay, I think I know what you mean.
I'll post a link that describes what James just said.
Okay.
We've got a little
awesome
page. 1 second.
Hello, guys, by the way. Sorry, I'm about
half
an hour too late.
It's
all right.
Here, I'll stop my share.
Troy, I just posted in the chat the link to the page on how to edit the pipelines.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
So you could always just edit the step directly.
Okay.
We try to kind of minimize people having to edit the pipelines just because then it's easier to share them.
Right.
Edit them to start with, just to try. Then you can do anything in the pipeline and then figure out what the changes. But I think I just used the wrong flag on that issue. I think.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll drop that one in and see what we get.
Because it'd be awesome to be able to use OpenShift registry.
Yeah.
That would be really nice. Yeah. And I'm sure it's just a couple of flags and stuff.
I'm sure we'll be able to use the OpenShift registry because I was using, and I guess the name changed, but if you recall a couple meetings ago, I posted that other address that was Docker registry or something like that anyway. And in JX2, I was using that successfully at one point. And I was publishing images to that registry and I was promoting to staging. But in JX3, I haven't quite got there yet, just because of this registry issue. And then the next thing I'm going to run into probably is going to be the issue that you brought up there, where when you try to promote to staging, you don't have the permission in that namespace. And so I'm just going to have to add the secret in that namespace, I think is really all it amounts to, right?
Yeah.
So
there might be, it depends on how you want to do it, but there might be a service account
right.
permissions or something more that you might be able to just add the default service account maybe as well.
Okay.
Which is a bit icky, but
I'll work through it.
Let us know how you get on with that though. It'd be really nice to see if that does work.
Yeah. I'll keep you posted when I get it.
Hey Tom, how's it going?
It's going all right. I'm glad I've got my chart museum issue fixed yesterday. That was a bit of an awkward one. I'm very pleased about that. So now I'm messing around with all the build packs because we've got some Java services, some C# services, some Angular services. So I'm just getting them all fine-tuned, ready to get our organization to migrate over. So we might see some PRs coming in for quick starts, getting them up and running. Because I've noticed the Angular one doesn't quite work, but I've got ours running again. So there might be a few fixes coming in for that.
Outstanding. Been loving the PRs already as well. So yeah.
Well, I've only been tiny fixes here and there, mainly annoyances when you're getting twitchy and it's an easy fix.
Absolutely, yeah, that's brilliant. That's what was the chart museum issue again?
So the issue was due to the chart, the way that charts are picked up. So you had this really nice scoring system where you basically said if it's in a charts directory and then it has the app name and then it has the chart nested, then it basically gets 3 points or whatever. But then at the end of that, it just did a random check that basically said if the string is bigger than any other string, then use that string. So it ended up using the old charts v1 directory that I had sat in the projects folder. So
that's not a small fix, by the way. That's a great find. That must have been very satisfying.
Yeah, it's nice to have it. That's something that I was going to say anyway. So you know the pipeline files, and that you have the JX versions within there, like the JX3 version, the JX2 version. Is there any way to automatically go through and push those pipelines to use the latest versions of the JX client or JX images?
James,
you mean pipeline? Oh, hang on. I'll turn off my video because my kid. You mean upgrade the pipeline YAMLs to use the latest images?
Yes, that's what I mean. Instead of just having to do a Control-C, Control many Vs. I didn't know if we had if there was a JX3 command or something just to say, JX upgrade pipeline, and it just pulls the latest images down.
So JX upgrade will upgrade any Git repository to the latest upstream. Whatever is stream, it's a pipeline library.
JX GitOps upgrade you mentioned there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, and that'll, will that update the tecton.dev pipeline files in the .lighthouse folders of the project as well? Okay, that's cool. That sounds like exactly what I'm looking for.
What we're hoping to generate pull requests on your project to upgrade so that you don't have to worry about that and it just kind of happens, but we haven't quite filled that bit in yet.
Yeah, I mean that would be great. That sounds really good because Because yeah, that was a few of the things, you know, like when I'm obviously doing the PRs, it's then like, oh, I don't want to go too far with all my 50 microservices, because then I've got to do the 50 PR dance and the slog of 2 days worth of work just updating version
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yes.
great news.
So we should be automating that soon. Yeah.
What we could do with is, I mean, that almost sounds like a post-beta thing that we could probably try and have a look at. Like try and get, you know, if we, assuming that we get a beta out within the next 7 to 10 days, then we could maybe, that could be maybe one of the first things we can try and look at.
Well, yeah, if there's any smaller issues and stuff as well, then feel free to suggest them to me, and I can have a look at them, because I'm basically on our cluster now for quite a while, so
Nice.
I can always have a look through.
Maybe we could start brainstorming. Maybe, I don't know if it's worth creating an issue on that one, and we can start brainstorming, and there might be some steps we can try and start thinking about, at least in the next couple of days, whilst we're, you know, between tasks and stuff. Yeah.
Sounds like I can create that issue if you want. I don't know where you'd want it, which little client.
Yeah, actually, one of the things we don't have is a central place for issues at the moment, and it's probably something we are going to need to think about for the beta as well. Is what we do about.
At least within our org, we just have a skeleton project where we just have a batch of issues and projects that, you know, coordinate the whole cluster.
I quite like that. Just having an empty project actually has that as well. It's quite nice.
I mean, you could even use your JX docs for it, or JX v3 docs, or whatever you have, and just have your issues sat alongside.
Is it worth just for now for this on that one? I created one on the version stream on maybe use that for now because it's kind of related. Oh well, okay, actually maybe not. Maybe on the pipeline catalog repo. Yeah.
Have you started sign language in James?
James is having internet issues. But yeah, if you pop over an issue on
with
the
all the
pipeline
family working from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll shove it on. Don't even know which one did you say? Cluster.
Oh, pipeline catalog repo.
Pipeline catalog. Okay. Yep,
yeah.
I'll create an issue there.
Great stuff. So, is there anything else, or Tommy? Anything else you could think of that we needed to raise, talk about? Well, any thoughts?
I mean, I'm having one issue at the minute, and I've had the issue a couple of times before, and it's with importing. So, I ran into the issue when boot fails. So when you do a JX import on a directory, or you create a quick start, if boot fails on that, then the import ends in a weird state, and it either means you have to completely clean down your boot repo and then re-import the project, or you have to do some weird dance of like checking where it is in its state and then manually doing the steps to get it into the pipeline. Maybe if there was some way that it could automatically roll back those changes or something along those lines, then that might require less faffing with the JX import.
Yeah, one of the other things I noticed as well, I don't know, the import can take a while. And I just wondered, you know, really how it does the regeneration for the trigger, the lighthouse configuration and everything. I wonder how bad would it be to, whilst it's doing that, to also do directly update the lighthouse configuration in the cluster. And then the boot job just does a reconcile of that when it finally runs, but maybe we wouldn't have to wait as long. Would you get faster feedback that way?
You mean like if you regenerate almost locally on the client machine?
and actually then it's still apply the update to the Lighthouse configuration. So the Lighthouse config and proud config or files. James, do you know what I mean?
James then, but muted, then unmuted. He's thinking about it.
We used to do everything on the client, but we switched to doing everything in the server because it was more consistent.
Yeah, I do prefer it that way, to do it a bit more on the server. The rollback, I think, would be okay if it just said if it was clear and said, oh, something's gone wrong in the promotion pipeline, we're going to roll back, because it does wait for the boot job anyway. So I suppose it wouldn't be too hard to get the status of that boot job.
Yeah.
Easy. So when you have these issues, how request has been created, and is the pull request merged and then it ends up in a weird state, or is it just the pull request never merges?
I think the pull request never merges. Wait, let me do some more testing with it, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to break more things. It seems to be pretty consistent. So I'll break some more things, and then I'll nail down the issue a bit more and try and get a replication to go ahead.
Because if the pull request never works, you could just close it. Nothing. The cluster shouldn't change its state. It's only if a pull request merges, but then that's somehow bad, and then we want to revert the pull request.
Yeah, because it seems that the hook hasn't been added. It seems, because if I go into my repository, then I can see that the webhook's not there on it, but then I can see that it's merged within the Helm file. So it seems like something is gone wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, there's maybe some cases we're not catching that we need better validation before we merge.
Yeah, like you say, if there's more detail as you go along, as you do more, then that would be, if we can narrow down and kind of surface more of the errors that do happen. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, if I'll try and do my unit test creation thing, where I just make a test for it to fail. But I'm not sure because sometimes the issues are a little bit too in depth for me to fix, because I'm not quite sure on how some stuff works. So I don't know, is it acceptable for me to open a PR with a unit test that fails and then just go, I don't know how to fix this?
Definitely.
You can fix
That'd be
it.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That'd be brilliant. Awesome.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm all happy.
Brilliant. Okay, so that was good. I didn't know how long that was going to go on for, but we managed 51 minutes. That was pretty good. So I guess thanks again to everybody. Anybody that watches this on the recording, get involved, please. Reach out to us on Slack, and watch out for website updates, and look out for a beta release within the next couple of week or two. Exciting stuff. Troy, good luck with the Insecure Registry thing. Let us know how you get on. Rajat, nice to see you.